Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. How are we all doing? Alrighty. So I'm going to try to get everybody in a reasonable spot here. I'm going to do a little bit of filming in the background because this is where my project, I think, starts to get a little bit interesting. I also need to figure out a way to listen to music while I do this part of it because it's going to be a little bit on the tedious side. Let's see. 24 mil wide angle. Here we go. Let's see. Long ways to go on this. Some macro shots as well. So kind of the idea is in between these two lines, I'm going to do a whole bunch of carving with this tiny little V-groove tool. But I need to get enough of it on camera that then I can carve while the kids play today in the backyard. Because I think that's where all my actual time is going to come from on this. So we're going to raise the camera head. There we go. close here. Good morning, everybody. Sharpening system. What you use, what you'd recommend for traditional tools. Yeah, so what I have is I have this Harbor Freight grinder with CBN tools, or CBN wheels. I bought this thing and then I figured, it'll die and then I'll get myself a real one. And we're like years in now and it just keeps working. And then next to it, I have the Tormek. And the Tormek, I've actually put the CBN wheel on as well. So basically what I use this for is 80 and 600 grit CBN grinding, or maybe it's 80 and 200. It's something like that. Basically I use this for roughing in my tools if I'm changing the shape or what have you. And then this I use to get an absolute razor edge on them, which is pretty cool. I also like this thing because I can do the Tormek. I can do kitchen knives, my pocket knife, I sharpen up on that, hand chisels. Like there's just a ton of attachments and stuff for it. It's a pretty cool, like, comprehensive system, and I really enjoy that part of it. So I do know that Grizzly and Wen both make kind of like a clone. I don't know. I went with the Tormek because I got a good deal on it on Black Friday, and I figured, I don't know, if I'm gonna trust like $6 or $7 grand worth of turning tools to it, might as well get the nice one. But the Grizzly one, as far as I know, is a lot cheaper, and I think that it fits all of the Tormek attachments. Sorry, need to get another camera shot going here, but I am jammed up at the moment. I will say that some of the actual content creation parts of this gig are kind of silly sometimes. Like all the little things that you have to do in between. Right. So I'm mixing up the length of these initial cuts, because if I make them all the same length, then you can kind of tell where the second layer starts. So I'm doing different lengths. So some of them are going to be long, some of them are going to be short, because it kind of blends the layers here, if that makes sense. So all I'm doing is trying to rough this in around the outside. I've also been doing a lot of smaller pieces recently. It's actually kind of fun to have a nice big canvas for once. Also, if you just found me through the shorts feed, usually I'm doing wood turning in the morning. But this is part of a longer video that I'm going to do, where I'm going to introduce one of my kind of guiding philosophies on this, which is called IPITA, which is intentional pain in the ass. It's doing things that are hard on purpose so that you build the muscle for doing them hard. So that when you come up with an idea that seems like it might require something that's pretty hard, you don't shy away from it, you just dive right in. So I'm going to bring it around so you can actually see what's going on here. There we go. Do I know nosy? I don't think so. Oh, sorry, really quickly. And mode. already starting to feel a little bit of grain collapse on this piece, which is kind of fun. That little guy just kind of went off into nowhere, huh? Right. I think I'm actually quite happy about keeping just a little bit of the heartwood here. I think it's, or the sapwood. I think it's going to be a cool contrast once we get this all the way done. Okay. Wear out the hands a little bit. So I'm going to get a new shot going here of the camera. So what are y'all up to this weekend? Anybody doing anything fun or big? I have at least one children's birthday party to attend, so that's probably gonna be my big deal for the week. So this thing's kind of fun. This is my my camera slider, and this is how I get time-lapse shots in my videos. So, did I turn on? There we go. Nice. All right, cool. So for this, I want. Go. And then so this is how I kind of do my tracking shots. I'm doing a test right now. And then from here, I find the angle that I want as well. There we go. Set focus to be like here. I'm going to change the timing. And then that's how that works. So nice 20-minute tracking shot. first sort of layer done. Stand up and stretch out a little bit. Whew. Hamid, thanks for being back. As far as softwood, this is mulberry, so not exactly. Dooney, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's pull everybody in a little bit closer here. And then swing this around. Get a different look. What time do we have here? 6:30? Okay. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus. Yeah, it's carving easily because it's wet. That's really the deal here. So I need to set up one more shot for this morning. Perfect. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Hey, do me a huge favor. If you got here through the shorts feed, hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. I have a full-length video coming out today in the next couple of hours. And it's also pretty random for us to just like meet on the shorts feed, you know? So I would love a second chance to hang out. I'd love to show you some more of my work. Do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, so now I need to start filling in the pattern a little bit. This is all just kind of by feel. stuff on the fingers right now. So much surface area to cover. How are we doing over here on the chat? Here, here's what we're looking at. Beautiful. Ooh, all right, I gotta stand up for a second, check out the cobwebs. 6:42, kids should be up soonish. Hopefully not too soon, you know. There we go. Okay, so pop the camera off really fast. Yeah, this is kind of nice. I think that my camera enjoys these days because this is the one day it's not getting absolutely annihilated by shavings. And let's swap lenses really fast. Get kind of the final shots for the day. I have like 15 minutes of carving left this morning. Let's see if I turn this up a shade. Beautiful. Okay. Funny, I can hear my neighbor's roosters right now. And I know that wouldn't be remarkable in most parts of the country, but I live in Silicon Valley. I don't have a lot of roosters here. So my neighbor runs a daycare. I actually have 2 daycares in my neighborhood. And one of them, they have farm animals there. So just in the middle of like this neighborhood, you know, where the minimum home price is like $1.5 million. You just hear like goats randomly. I think that she has a couple of pigs too. Seems like kind of a cool experience for the kids though. You know, they're all gonna grow up and be software engineers or whatever, but at least they get to grow up with animals. and as I understand it. I haven't really figured out what to call this style of carving. I've heard a couple people call it sgraffito, but I don't know. Because it uses the small tool, it doesn't create a whole lot of waste, which is nice. Basically, I've been doing like a big chisel or something. But the reason that I do it is because, you know, kids are playing, or I just throw on a movie or something like that. It's pretty easy. I don't have to sharpen a ton, so that's why I wind up doing it. Like this particular style. Like breaks up outlines really effectively. But it also kind of satisfies that craving for something that's high touch. You know, by the time I'm done with this, there'll be literally thousands of these tiny little lines on here. Look at how much white space there still is, though. Yes, I think this is going to be a 2 or 3 day bowl, and then the medium one is probably going to be like a day and a half. And then the small one I should be able to knock out in, I don't know, hour or 90 minutes. So that should complete the nested set. So then I think the idea is I'm gonna do, you know, between the lines, it's all gonna look like this. And then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap the bottom here in vinyl. I'm gonna sandblast this section, sandblast this section. I'm gonna wrap the bead so that that stays clean as well. And then I think I'm also gonna sandblast the inside. Just like it's too rich, you know. I think I can knock a lot of this grain back. Give it a cool texture. But the idea being that, you know, you kind of get these blended textures, right? Like smooth, sandblasted, cut, sandblasted, smooth, right? Kind of like I was gonna say a smooth sandwich, but you don't call it like a bread sandwich, right? The bread's on the outside, so I guess it's a sgraffito sandwich. Put that on my tombstone. You don't call it a bread sandwich. That's galaxy brain right there. Like, you're not gonna get that wisdom anywhere else. All right, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. For more gems of wisdom. They don't call it a bread sandwich. You can use that in your daily life if you want, you know? Just bring that up at a party. A PTA meeting, something like that. See if you can work it into your daily life. So at my oldest boy's school, there's a child who has a severe nut allergy. So we've been playing around with kind of all the alternatives because we just wanted to eat sandwiches because A, that's easy for us to make. B, he had been liking them. So we got this like chocolate sunflower butter. It's basically like healthy Nutella. You wouldn't think it would be hard to convince a kid to eat a chocolate sandwich, but man, dude, we have been having the worst time trying to convince him that it's okay. He is just stuck on the idea that we don't get peanut butter anymore. So we're trying to tell him, like, you know, you can eat it at home on the weekends, whatever you like, but the rest of the time it's this chocolate sunflower paste. And He's a smart kid. He knows something's up. He knows he's not getting the full treatment. So what I like to do is I like to carve kind of into this zone, right? Where it's reachable from the other side. And then I'll flip it around and carve back into this because I don't want to accidentally skip the chisel off and like carve up my nice clean line up here. So I'm carving into the interior of the pattern from both sides. So that's the idea. 6:52. Anybody have any big plans today? I'm doing a kid's birthday party, and then one of our friends is turning 34, so she is throwing what she is calling her last ratchet birthday party, meaning that all of the rest of us either have kids or are having kids. I think that she's going to start trying this year, so this is like the last one where she can kind of blow it out a little bit. There will be drinking. What I'm hoping is that I can be home by like 9:30. I have a couple of nice bottles of wine that I want to get into. It's funny, I used to love going out and drinking with friends and stuff like that. And now, on Friday and Saturday nights, my wife kind of crashes out on the couch and doom scrolls away. And I post up at the kitchen table with my laptop and a nice bottle of wine, and I script my YouTube videos. So just super exciting, this is something that you get to look forward to. If you're, if you're young, this is what it becomes, Start really looking forward to what little free time you have and being really judicious about how you spend it. I have to say, wine has ruined my taste for beer. I used to be like a hot day, like a Budweiser, a Coors Light, just like a standard issue American lager. I can't drink it anymore. And I kind of miss it because that was my staple for years. That 100-degree week in California that we would have every summer. Just take out some no-nonsense lagers. But I can't do it anymore. I've pretty much completely lost my taste for it. I will say I can still occasionally get down on a nice beer. I drank a Pliny the other day just to see, like, am I out on beer or am I just out on cheap beer? Looks like I'm just out on cheap beer. All right, I'm gonna stop the main camera for a little bit. Spent some time yesterday afternoon cleaning out my driveway. I have this bad habit of, like, when I take a tree, what I will do sometimes is I'll just leave the sections that I don't want in my driveway. That way they lose a little bit of moisture and they're easier to manipulate later on. But I've been backed up like 3 trees. I mean, I put, it has to be a metric ton of dried wood into the back of my pickup truck yesterday. And now I gotta take it to the green waste facility. But that's also why I didn't work out or go running yesterday, is because I think that loading all of that and sweeping all the mess up counts as a workout. I also ran around with my boy. I started coaching his soccer team. I gotta tell you, 4-year-olds in soccer is hilarious. The stuff that comes out of these kids' mouths, I swear. They really do say the darndest things. Anybody else remember that show? I feel like Kids Say the Darndest Things and Price is Right were like staples of me staying at my grandma's house when I was younger. Playing skip-bo, drinking some Diet Right, watching The Price is Right. Back when it was Bob Barker. Sorry, I was just thinking The Price is Right. Does Drew Carey host that now? I remember my dad, when I was younger, he used to watch the Drew Carey show, but I have no idea if that show holds up. I should try to go find it on like a streaming service or something. And I guess if it was good, people would talk about it, right? Or is it just like everybody only watches The Office and Friends on repeat now? Well, Parks and Rec. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, we really did get a nice little run of TV comedies there for a bit. All right, how are we all doing in the chat? Beautiful. All right, got about 2 minutes left. Any last words, anybody? Anything you want to say? Go ahead, promote your own channel. Tell us what you're getting up to this afternoon. You know, hopes and dreams, aspirations. Be the change you want to see in the world, you know, that kind of stuff. I'd love to say something like, we're a community here, we're a family, but really this is just like a weird family where I talk at you and I don't even look at the screen that often. So I don't know, maybe it is like your family. I don't know. I don't know what your dad's like. All the same, I just want to say, I appreciate you being here. If you found me through the Shorts feed, do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button so we get another chance to hang out. I think we're going to be doing this for the next 2 or 3 lives. I mean, depending on how much time I get to carve all the kids' nap and whatnot. But after that, I'm going to be making a box that I've been planning out for a while with my buddies over at Cali Hardwoods. It's going to have a lot of layers. Like, there's going to be a lot of gluing with this box, a lot of contrast. I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I think what we're going to wind up doing is giving it as a gift to my wife's doctors when we have our baby in December. So, you know, I don't have to worry about selling it. I just have to worry about, is it nice enough for a physician to enjoy? I think that'll be fun. But there's just a lot of surface area still yet to cover. I don't know, I was just thinking about it, but did anybody ever watch that show Flight of the Conchords on HBO? I love that show. So when I was super duper broke, when I was like 19, I was waiting tables, and like one of my buddies worked at KFC. The other one was like swim coaching and bussing tables somewhere or whatever. Like we were dead broke. There were 4 of us packed into a 3-bedroom in a quadruplex. So like a duplex, but split in half basically. And this was before Netflix streaming, all that kind of stuff. And so we had like an Xbox, and my parents for Christmas that year got me Flight of the Conchords on DVD. And we must have watched that stuff like 100 times. Like there was just nothing else to do. We're super broke. We couldn't go out. So we would like sit at home on a Friday night. We would get, you know, like maybe a tall can of beer if we were feeling like it, you know, feeling frisky, had an extra $3 burning a hole in our pocket. We would just sit down and watch and rewatch Flight of the Conchords like over and over and over and over. I know that entire show so deeply, like by heart doesn't even begin to cover my relationship with that show. And I still want to watch it. I love that show. I'll tell you that my wife straight up does not understand it. She doesn't get the humor. She thinks it's really weird and awkward, and I keep telling her like, yeah, that's the idea, sweetheart. I will say there's something funny about like shows and people that make you uncomfortable, but there's a limit. Like I couldn't do Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Like that was a little bit too far for me, like a little bit too uncomfortable. Now I kind of recognize like the genius and kind of the artistic leaps that they made there, but like it made me so uncomfortable to watch it. Alrighty, well, oh man, okie doke. I'm gonna pack this back up, make sure it doesn't dry out on me. Ladies and gents, that is the live stream for today. Thank you so much for being here, really appreciate it. Do me a favor, if you found me through the shorts feed, hit that subscribe button so we get another chance to hang out later. Just to remind everybody, part of a nested set. A lot of moisture in here still. I gotta be careful. I'm glad that I let it breathe a little bit. The last thing I want is for this to start molding on me. But yeah, I think tomorrow morning, bright and early, back at it. I might try to sneak some of this in during the day while the kids are napping or something. But yeah, that's the stream. I'm gonna let it breathe just a little bit here. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. I will see y'all tomorrow unless I decide that I want to sleep in a little bit, which doesn't happen much these days, but it does happen occasionally. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. See you on the next one.